So good. So good to be with you all. So good to have faces I haven't seen for a while. See you coming in, being here this gorgeous day. And I so appreciate Claire taking the time and putting together things that on last minute requests. It was very lovely. Thank you. And I know everyone is here today because you are guided to be here today. Yes? Something in you said, show up, get dressed, and find your way to this building that we call Unity of Beaverton. And what was that something? For some of us, it was just a habit. It was a habit of thought, that structure in our brain that does the same thing over and over and over again. For some of us, it was, I'm inspired to do something different. That inspiration is a wonderful word because inspire is to be inspirited. And I love that inspire, respire, aspire, conspire are all about spirit. Some of you may recall a book from way back 50 plus years ago called The Aquarian Conspiracy. And it was about breathing together, being in the same spirit together. When spirit manages our life, an amazing set of things happen. One of the things is something called synchronicities. It was a psychotherapist, Carl Jung, in Switzerland, who coined that term, SYN meaning with, and chronicity meaning timing. So these are things that are in timing with. And he defined them as events that are connected, but not physically. There is no direct physical cause, and yet there is a meaningful connection. And for those of us who've been learning to live our lives in the spirit, they happen a lot. And the reason they happen, these meaningful events that don't have an obvious, clear physical coordination or cause, is because all events are in the hands or in the mind or in the substance unfolding that we call spirit. Spirit works outside of the two-dimensional or three-dimensional reality of our life. And it even moves outside of the time of our life. So that's a four-dimensional reality. Spirit is multiple dimensions, many, many, many dimensions. At least 12, it looks like from the physics now, instead of just 4. Wow. That means that anything that happens anywhere in space and time is now for spirit. So when we are thinking about the past or the future, when we are imagining what might be, for spirit goes now. When we are taking the next step, for spirit, the taking is the now. There is no past anymore. There just is now. And that now includes all space and time. I had an interesting experience just the other day. I was having dinner with someone and describing a cat that had come to me probably, in my very first home. And it was white and it had orange ears and an orange tail and a little tiny bit of orange around its face. And I always thought of it as a white Siamese cat. And I called him Ombre because it was very messy. Well, I was describing this saying just what I just said, And then on the way home, stopped at the post office, and on a poster over the post office table, it said, missing flame point hat, with a photograph of my only, not my brain, but it looked just like me. So, oh, a synchronicity. I was ready to know what the name of that kind of cat is. And the universe handed it to me totally without any. All I had to do was look up. That's the kind of thing that happens more and more as we live in spirit and allow ourselves to go to change sometimes, flow sometimes, to be in a different space sometimes than we thought to be, to let go of the past and the plans and the desires of the past and be with what is now. Because in spirit, always, all is well and all is now. This was a big lesson. I was a futurist, I was a planner. I could schedule anything, I could budget anything, I could get everything done on time. Yep. No years have done that, I'm sure. In fact, I know many of you have. I've got to get this stuff. So as we look at this life that we live with the calendars and the clocks and the, set the intention, set the goal. This is my schedule. I got to be there then. I got to do this then. I got to have this done by then, right? Spirit's got no idea what we're talking about. That is so unlike everything is now and everything is fine. So, to the extent that we are enlightened, that we get to feel love, that we feel supported, that we feel just the deep pleasure of being, Spirit says, oh yeah, that can happen now. The extent that we have a mild curiosity and interest. What is the kind of cat I'm talking about? Spirit says, oh yeah, here it is. But the more we get into what I call the toxic words, should, ought, must, gotta, and have to, those words literally pull us away from the beingness that is. When we relax into the flow of the mind, when we come into our awareness that something wonderful is trying to happen here, and I am being called into our bodies, very much better because we're not releasing stress. And our world becomes more filled with synchronicity. The exact thing that we need shows up very quickly. It also means we have instant karma. That's another story. When we do something that is counter to our well-being, that will show up in the synchronicities of the club. So the more we can be in the flow of this is love, this is pleasant, this is joyful, this is energizing, which is why I use the 3 words instead of the 5 toxic words: effortless, enjoyable, and energizing. When I'm in that space, then I'm open to and experiencing spirit in my mind. Because spirit is effortless. There's no work that God does. Even though he said, when I'm going to work with spirit's work, that means it's something. He's saying that line, and that means when I feel drawn to make something happen here, then I make it happen and it doesn't feel like effort. It feels like, good, I got some good physical workout here, and it feels good. Faye is a marvelous person. You need to know that this place would not be running without Faye. That's right. But yes. And she offered to come over and help me yesterday because I rented the truck and I emptied out the car that I've been using for last year. Because my schedule is changing and I'm still here. I'm just not every week now. But she came over and she helped me load the truck. And we did it in the two of us, and one was almost too heavy for the two of us. And I had never moved it, so. But we got it in there. And yeah, she was lovely. She took me to get my car where I rented the truck. And all was well. Yeah, we did all of that. She arrived at 3:15, 6:15. I was in my car. Wow. And I looked at it this morning and I had packed and loaded my whole apartment in less than 12 hours. And I was not exhausted. How did it happen? Because I was going the flow of it rather than driving. The exhaustion comes from using the adrenaline and then suddenly not having it. And the adrenaline comes from the 5 toxic words. So if I'm going, hey, what's next? Oh yeah, that's what's next. What feels right? Oh yes, that feels right. Not right as in right and wrong, but right as in fitting. Right as in, yes, this feels like me in this moment. Experience. I know you all know what that feels like. And I can see you settling into that. That's great. So if I choose in the moment what is fitting, what is moving to more energy and more flow of life, yes, then I have more money. Now, some of you are aware of what my schedule is, but most of you aren't. So right now, I'm going to just briefly tell you what I've been doing for the last weeks, okay? I've been here every Wednesday and Thursday. I was in Denver for Friday through Monday. I was here Wednesday and Thursday. I was in Monterey for Friday through Monday. I was in Santa Tuesday, and I was here Wednesday, Thursday, and I drove all these places. And then I moved. Oh, well. And then I moved. I emptied the house, the apartment. So that is my life. Has been my life for a number of months. If I tried to make that happen, I could not stand here right now. But as I move with guidance of the moment and allow that life to flow through me and feel the guidance and feel the love and feel the support and enjoy the process. Wow, it is amazing. Now I said that I packed up the apartment and we moved it all in that time frame. And I didn't tell you was that there was an emergency in one of the places I've been helping out. And so I did 4 hours of counseling during that. So yeah, life can be pretty full. And just move with it. So when I was first learning how to do this, it was about, and some of us were raised with this, well, you should be doing this, you ought to be doing this, you have to get this done, you must be. Yeah. Remember those words? Well, I did that. I did that. I did everything that one should do, who grew up where I grew up in the way I grew up and married the person I married and all of that stuff. And I remember it was my 34th birthday and my mother finally said, I'm proud. Mm-hmm. And the next year the body gave out. Yes.
Could you repeat that?
And the next year the body gave out. Like less than 1 year after mom said that. I'm the only child of a single mom, so that was pretty important. And it gave out because I had been living from the shoulds. I had been living from the shoulds. Some of you heard the phrase, don't shoot on yourself. I learned that later. So in order to free myself from the toxicity of living that way, the body literally collapsed. It would not let me do anything for some months. And the doctors were not pleased with how it turned out. They gave me a prognosis, nobody wants. And I went, no, I still got kids. Husband, I've got people out there depending on me. This is not going to be that prognosis nobody wants. And so I had to learn how to live very differently. And the first thing I had to learn how to do was what we talked about in the daily word, with soft heart. I live in love as I forgive. So instead of driving from the shoulds and laying those shoulds on people around me, I had to learn to go to that soft heart and let go, because that's how I understand. Let go and release that other stuff. All not what I needed by laying all that shoulds on me. I had to let go of any resentment. I had to let go of any resentment and upset around other people not following my shoulds. It ought to be this way. You didn't do it that way. And I don't like that. And as I began to let go of an amazing thing began to happen. And that was, as I let it go, this marvelous healing light would flow through both of us. And I get that sense that is expressed in the Course of Miracles. God does not forgive because God never condemned. There is no need to be forgiven by God. I don't have to ask for forgiveness from God. But as I felt that light, I realized I needed to forgive myself. Oh my goodness, I bought into all of that. I had lived from all of that. I had caused what was going on in my life now through all of that. Not intentionally. I did not say, I'm going to get sick. None of us do. But as we live in certain ways, the body tells us whether we're in alignment or not. And it told me and invited me to stop and not go into a place of forgiveness, of releasing, and be in the silence of a different way of being. And in that silence, I began to be able to sense, not actually hear with my ears, but sense words coming to me. And they were words like, it's okay. They were words, one phrase that it took me years to get was, sing a new song. I love to sing. I sing all the time. There's always a song going on in my head. There's often a song. Sing a new song. Not a song about longing and wishing and hanging on to. And not a song about must and have to, gotta and should. But a song about how much we are loved, how blessed we are, how much the universe is supporting us in every step. Took me a while to learn songs, and most of them are either in the wings of song hymnal or the Our Music and Arts radio station or the internet. All different kind of song. Some of you remember, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful. And then I would change the word for all that I am. And as I began to learn these new songs, and as I began to be in quiet, and as I began not be laying my boots on me or anyone else, the body began to heal. And as I began to heal, then that sense of words would sometimes say, go to, and then it would give me an image. And the image was usually a building. And there were two different kinds of buildings that I was sent to. One was the buildings where I had issues, where things had happened that I needed to release and rebuild. Oh, oh yeah, I remember that happening there. Oh, I need to do that work, right? But the other kind was 2 or 3 unit churches up and down the California coast. One in San Francisco, one in Palo Alto, one in the area where family was living, and then I'd be visiting something because I had family and I needed to continue to do that family thing. And then I would be going told, no, turn here. And the physical sensation, right? Like I see you in the body. And then I'd go in, and there wouldn't be anyone in the building, but there would be a rack of pamphlets by the door or on the foyer. And one of them would leap off with a good love. That was another thing I learned during that time. That what is mine to look at right now flows. It calls me. And one day once that glowed was the pamphlet Unity puts out. It was written by Emmett Fox and called The Golden Key. And the Golden Key says, if you are concerned about any issue at all, stop thinking about it and think about God instead. That was a tough one for me because I was in the industry then and I was in the world of the sciences then, and I was a little agnostic about the idea of God. I had no problem with the idea of an infinite intelligence ordering all that is, but a person called God was a little tough. So I got to think about what I thought God might be. And I got to think about all the qualities, because I didn't know about Finler's and Hopkins' ideas of the 12 qualities and the 12 powers. And I realized in my own way that all that I've ever wanted was in what I called wow. And I also, because I understood science, understood that that infinite intelligence, it is everywhere present, is in every atom, every molecule, every cell of my being, and every nerve connection in my brain. Wow. That meant that all that I ever wanted was in every part of my being. That was huge. Because I have been raised to have to drive and work and really put in an effort to ever experience what I'm looking for. And I imagine virtually everyone has had the same training, am I right? So coming to understand and realize that all I had to do was stop and be silent and allow and go with what I was guided to be and do. That was the turnaround. So I ended up getting well, as you can see. And I went back to work, and I went back to being a mom, and I went back to all the things that I've been doing before, and obviously that did not work. Because now I can't operate the same. So I did things in a different way. Okay, I'll do it. I'll follow the guidance to do this, quietly and gently and push myself. And the fact that there are 6 people asking me to do things all at the same time, which everyone here has that experience too. Yeah, I won't let that push me too hard. And then over a period of time, the body would get, nah, and it would collapse again. The collapses came fewer and fewer over the time that I learned to listen more and more to the guidance. And the pain was gone. Actually been able to go back to work. It would stop after I started listening again to the guidance. So the pain and the collapse. Well, I had 3 days of one of those collapses and pain, about 6, 8, 10 years after the first big one. And the guidance said, go to a place here in Beaverton. It was the West Valley Theaters on a Sunday morning. And there was a group meeting there called Living Enrichments. Now, I have been aware of that group since the day it was founded, because everyone around me knew about that group. And guidance would always say, don't go there. So this was like 8 years later, and I thought, you want me to do what? But it was get up, get dressed in church, and go to Living Enrichment Center. All right. Well, the second part of that, and some of you have heard this story, is the night before, this would be Sunday morning, I got guidance. On Friday night, Saturday morning, I had a dream in which this beautiful, tall, thin redhead in a cream-colored dress with purple and blue big flowers came up to me out of the light and said, welcome to the body of Christ. I know, that's what I did too. Oh, evangelical is not my world. But I went, okay, that's the dream, and I let it go, puzzled over it. And then the next morning I was invited or packed to go to the center. Very clear, these are the clothes. Okay, now walk out the door, now get in the car, now drive here, turn left here. I mean, the guidance was very specific that morning. And I managed to get there shortly after the service started, and I found a little corner back in the corner. See that corner behind all of the video, sound equipment stuff, so I couldn't really see everyone on the stage, but I could see the left. And service was having music, and it was beautiful music, it always is. And then someone got up and said, our minister has been delayed, they're still in Mexico, so we have our leader of our education program, the Living Enrichment Institute, is going to be our speaker today. Now, just 3 weeks before that, I had my 3-day collapse pain about it that I could not continue to do the work I'd done as a college professor and consultant. I needed to do spiritual work. And I had looked around the Portland area because my kids were so small enough, I couldn't just go off somewhere else. I had looked in a way to be trained in the ministry. So I'm going to Living Enrichment Center. I'm sitting there. The guest speaker comes up. It's a tall, slender redhead in a green colored dress with large purple and blue flowers. They you all know very well, those of you who've been here for a while, was the Reverend Francis. I guess. And she was running their ministry training program. Well, I knew what I was supposed to do. I was a little not sure, but I know things when I see it. So I went up to her after the service and she said, you need to talk to so-and-so. It was Bruce Robinson, somebody was Baptist preacher now, incredibly knowledgeable about the Bible, and he was the one who was coordinating admissions. Yeah. So I put together my, what in academia we call a curriculum vitae, CV, and it is every single course you ever took, every course you ever taught, every book you ever wrote or contributed to in any way, any kind of workshop or conference attended, and at that time it was about 8 pages long. So I took it in, and he met with me, and we sat there, and he looked at my CD, and he said, well, it looks to me, because, well, I've always been interested in spirit and religion. I took comparative religions at 18 as an anthropology student, and I want to know more. Right. So I always kind of woven little things in around the edges. He says, it looks to me like you've already completed the first 2 years of our program. And classes start next week. If you can write an essay for each of the courses for the first 2 years of our program and get it to me before Monday, I will admit. And he did, I did, he did, and I became a student of infants. But Jody was. And Jody was my new thought instructor. So, wow. Wow, a whole new world was opened up to me because I followed my guidance in spite of my intellect. Right? And I completed the year, I was ordained, and some of my fellow students and I went off and did other things. One of the things that happened with a group of folks asked me to set up I set up a center, we ran it for 2 years, it was beautiful, and then the building went from under us, and so the next thing that happened was, oh, Ed Townley decided to leave Unity of Beaverton, and Susan Hill had been one of my students, and so I called her up and I said, I think you need help, am I right? And that was here. And 30 years ago, almost to the day. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Wow. When we follow that inner awareness, it's not always a voice. Sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's just a sensation in the body. Sometimes it's a, oh yeah, this feels better than that. This feels more fitting for who I am and how I can be. Then amazing things happen. Feeling guided is, I think, the ideal human condition. I have to put, nobody's telling me what to do. When I follow the guidance, I feel that guidance. Amazing things happen. I am doing so much more than I ever thought I could ever do, and I'm enjoying 99% of it. Yay, guidance. Thank you, thank you. So I invite you today to spend some time in the silence. One of my Unity churches had the big banner, be still and know man. Yeah. Be still and know I am. We all are. Yes? Thank you.